Cool. Everybody's coming in.
Good evening, Wayne.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How's everything in Colorado? You guys getting cooler? About freezing up there, right?
Nah, it's starting to get a little chilly in the morning, but it's still warm. It's still nice.
It's the best time of year when you live in the mountains. Cool in the morning, warm during the day.
It is. It is. Actually, Palisade, it's only about maybe 45 minutes from here. Their wines are actually competing with California and France wines because of that hot day, cool night combination.
Wait, you said that's Palisades?
Yeah,
Well, that's where Hyundai got the name for that big beast.
that's it. Yeah, it is. It is.
It's
We
funny.
actually almost bought one of those.
Yeah, if the wife ever wants to upgrade her little Santa Fe, that's what I'd be looking at. I've been very pleased with that vehicle so far.
Yeah, we ended up getting a Subaru Endeavor or something. I can't even think of it right now, but it's the Subaru equivalent. But they're both really good. That Telluride is a really nice little car.
Yeah, that thing's got all-wheel drive on it too, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, let Erin get stuck anywhere. You got to make sure she can get around.
That's right. That's right.
It takes an important time out of your day to go rescue family members. You just buy the right thing for them where they don't get stuck. It's better that way.
That's right. And some snow tires and driving lessons. All right, cool. Well, have you ever interacted with this interlocker system or this Frontline Defense system, Mark?
Yeah, we've installed probably about a dozen of them.
Yeah. How's
And
it?
I haven't done them myself. My team does them. They just complain about having to cut the latch hole out.
Oh, yeah. Well, now Ron's here and
Yeah.
Ron can tell us about that. I think they make 3 different models to actually prevent that from happening. Ron, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I missed the first part of that conversation though, so I'm not sure what I'm preventing.
We were just talking about how great your product is, Ron.
Love it.
Yeah. So Mark Dawson is the Southwest board director, correct?
South Central.
South Central. Okay, South Central Aloha board director, and he's got a nice shop down there in Texas. And he said his guys have installed about a dozen of them or so. And
Yeah, we've done about 10 or 12 of them.
Yeah, but the only complaint they have is having to cut out the little latch spot around the door hardware. But I was just reviewing one of your videos, and it says that you offer 3 different models in sizes to reduce that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, you never want to cut that part out of it. The problem that you're talking about here is you've got an electric strike that protrudes out, probably a Hess or something like that sticks out too much that it won't sit flush.
No, I believe it was the cylinder hole they were talking about, not the latch.
Oh, so if you do it on narrow style storefront, you have to cut it out. Yes.
Yep.
There's no way around it.
Yeah, we can't do them pre-cut because we don't know if they're left-handed, right-handed, so you've got to flip them over. Right?
Yeah.
So there's no way to pre-cut them. But once you install them, all you do is simply take off all the hardware, install them, and drill back through the existing holes.
Yeah, it's 1.5 inch hole saw. It's super easy. As a matter of fact, if you watch the video today, this is all going to be recorded and you can send it out to your guys, and then there'll probably be a few little tips and tricks in here to make their installation go a little bit quicker. I can do them in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, if you do the aluminum, it's even faster.
Yeah, and this is aluminum on aluminum. But
yeah.
I'm really going to be pushing these for any time we do any kind of electronic access whatsoever. All of a sudden, that vulnerable point becomes that latch and that strike area. Therefore, I'm going to be really pushing these for any of that stuff. And then for here too, as soon as it's not going to do it much good right now, it won't be that impressive. But this winter, I'm actually going to partner with one of the HVAC companies that I work with. And we're going to get one of those thermal cameras and show how much air they're losing through that double door when you got 2 doors that come together, and show the before and after and show that giant cloud of heat that they're losing. So not only does this product increase security, it also increases the energy efficiency as well. So that's another selling point.
Something else that came up was a restaurant that had double doors and a gap down the middle. And it was actually the health department wanted this put on because bugs could get through that gap.
Oh yeah, bugs, rodents, everything. It just seals it up. It just seals it up.
That attests to the entire issue of good door accessories, which this is, and not enough locksmiths sell accessories, and they could be a huge monetary windfall for your company, especially when you're already there, your tools are already out, and hey, I can add this for you while I'm here.
Yeah.
Just it's not good enough practice anymore. There's no best practices on it for the locksmith industry as a whole. Some of the higher end shops, those Medico shops, all those stuff, they teach that in their conference, best practices.
Yeah.
Well, and think if you're trying to pick up a new client, if you walk in and say, I can do latches, levers, closers, strikes, so can everybody else.
Yeah.
I know more than one locksmith who has used this product to build his business because nobody else in town was offering it. It was the new better mousetrap, so to speak.
Yep. Yeah, I think you could actually start a business just installing these, to be perfectly honest. All it would take is getting one chain, like a gas station. You get Come and Go or whatever Loves or whatever gas station you have prevalent in the area. Or what they've been doing up here too is they've been setting up these little kind of temporary boxes around the gas stations at the city market, at the local grocery store, city market, King Supers, for somebody to man those so that they can sell windshield washer fluid and things like that through there. And I noticed that door was very, very weak. So, and you would be a huge target because, of course, that's going to be what's open late into the night. That's going to be your vulnerable point. So I'm definitely going to be pitching that too.
Cannabis stores, cell phone stores, liquor stores, easy sales.
Yeah.
You just show them the Primarks on the door, especially cannabis shops.
Oh,
they're no brainers around here.
Yeah.
I don't think I could find a cannabis shop in town that doesn't have this on it.
Yeah. And that's my next target too, because it's legal here in Colorado too. So definitely. Yep. Cool. Well, we are, it is 5 o'clock and I think we should go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, this is the Locksmiths United monthly Zoom meeting. And my guest today is going to be Ron Murray. He's going to be talking about a very cool product that I installed. And then I'm going to go over a couple different installation tips and techniques throughout the program. And we'll show some different applications for that as well. So this product will go on a aluminum storefront door. It will go on double doors. It will go on hollow metal doors and frames. It is a very versatile product, and they have different ones that go with those. They even make in-swing and out-swing ones. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let Ron introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his product.
Thanks, Wayne. Thanks for having me on the call. My name is Ron Murray. I am the owner of Frontline Defense Systems. We make aluminum and steel interlockers. A bit of history. I also own a locksmith company up here in Edmonton, and we've been putting these on for years. And about 4 years ago, I got the opportunity to buy the company, jumped at it because just saw the potential in it, and we've just seen sales explode throughout the U.S. and Canada over the last 3.5 years, and it's just been fantastic. It's hard to find a commercial door out there that wouldn't benefit from this product.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. I am now, my two top selling, top profitable door items are continuous hinges and Frontline Defense. Both of those products are $500 an hour installs. Normally the products can cost anywhere between $125, $150, somewhere right in there, retail, or for us from our suppliers. Ron, is that accurate?
Yeah, that's pretty close. I find most are probably in that 140 to 180 range, depending on what the product is. Some's a little bit higher if you get the wide throat ones, but you're bang on.
For under $200, you can probably acquire almost any of them, and I sell it installed for between $650 and $685. So and it can easily be installed in under an hour. So you can literally make $500 an hour installing this product. All
And that's the
right.
feedback we get too.
Yeah, it's just and especially with storefront doors. Now with the hollow metal frame doors, there could be a little bit of competition with the DIYer that wants to do it themselves. They want to order that product and do it themselves. Absolutely no question that that's not going to happen on the on aluminum storefront doors, because you have to completely take all the hardware off of it and then remount nut zerts and all kinds of things on there. So for a locksmith, it's very easy. For somebody that's dealt with commercial doors, it's very easy to do. You got to drill one hole to drill the cylinder hole back through it, and other than that, it's super quick. So it's fast, it's easy, it's effective. They see the difference. They know what it does. You don't have to explain a whole lot on this product. I mean, it speaks for itself. All right, so with that, we'll just go ahead and jump right in here and get started with this thing. So this is the Frontline Defense full-length latch guard installation. This is presented by myself, Wayne Winton, and Wayne's Lock Shop Productions. Everything is copyrighted, reserved. Text, video, and photos are, you can take those videos and things, but we're just going to keep this recording and rebroadcast it. So we ask that you just go ahead and refer people to this video if they do have any questions on how to install that. If you're a shop owner, please make sure that you take this video after we have a recording and share it with your teammates at your shop. This video will answer a lot of questions, and it'll help them get more familiar with installing the product and some of the do's and don'ts of the product as well. And then your shop guys will be a little bit more familiar with the product and how it installs. Wayne's Lock Shop is the largest online locksmith video collection dedicated to the further education of professional locksmiths, as you can see right here. All right, so here's the product, Frontline Defense Systems. If you need any of their contact information, frontlinedefense.com. You got the telephone number right here. I actually have a pull-up bar that's kind of blocking it, but you guys should be able to see everything right there. Looks like it's 1-866-260-6877. Is that accurate, Ron?
Yes, it is. Yep.
All right, cool.
I got right behind you.
Cool. All right. So I will be your instructor, Wayne Winton, 10 years in the industry, ALOA ACE certified instructor. Now, I want to clarify that this class has not been approved by ALOA yet, but they've approved everything else that I've done. So I'm sure if you called ALOA and said, hey, we took one of Wayne's classes, is there any way to get any CEU credits for that? You might be able to talk to Jim Hancock over there and see if you can pay a small fee. They can recognize your credits and possibly issue those credits to you in a certification. It's not in the books yet. That's just the way things have seemed to play out so far. Okay. So I'm not going to put any words in Aloha's mouth, but that's how things have played off in the past. Class overview. We're going to learn how to sell the Frontline Defense Latch Guard product first, because you can't install it until you sell it. We're going to show the advantages for both security and energy savings. We're going to show how valuable this can be to their business to protect their assets and save money along with energy costs. Okay. So we've got a little disclaimer here. The ideas and values expressed in Wayne's Lock Shop production videos are the opinions and ideas of Wayne Winton. Every reasonable effort has been made to ascertain the accuracy of the information contained in the teachings and advice offered. I'm letting people in too as we speak here. So at Wayne's Lock Shop, all processes, products, guidelines are based upon the current acceptable practices used to accomplish the task and procedures set forth in the industry. The instructor, the production team urge that anyone who uses this material and attempts to utilize the processes as outlined herein should be well acquainted with the safety procedures surroundings to the suggestions of the outline herein, and that they make all reasonable efforts to ensure the work is accomplished in a safe and competent manner. In other words, use your brain and don't sue me. Okay. Wear your gloves, eye protection, PPE, protective equipment, all that fun stuff. Anything you're going to be using, if you use a drill or a grinder or any of these power tools any other time, please use it here. Use your head and make sure that you keep yourself safe. If you don't have the protective equipment, don't do the installation. In the event someone is injured while attempting to accomplish any tasks seen here, the author is distributors, sources of material, and anyone connected, no matter how prominently or remotely, have no responsibility to the injured party. All right. So here's one of the videos that really caught my eye and really has an absolute, this is how you sell the product right here. So this is, and I'll tell you, this is exactly how I sold the product. I went to one of my customers and I was installing a door closer or something for them. I was just doing some other general work, rekeying a lock, putting a door closer on, doing some of the general stuff that we do. And I noticed they had a big gap in there. And I was like, well, hey, would you be interested in a product that can increase your security by a lot? There's a lot of bypasses that you may not be aware of right now that are very detrimental to your door. And I sent them this video link. I just text messaged it to them. And right now, this video is called something like the most significant security flaw in North America right now. Very catchy. It catches your attention very quickly. So we'll watch this video real quick. And this is how you can sell it to your customer. Okay, send them this video link and they'll understand what the product does. Hopefully, there we go.
This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and today I'm going to show you what I believe to be the most significant security flaw
everybody hear?
in North America. Now, the locks you see here may not look familiar, but the large majority of glass storefront doors in North America use one of these Adams Wright style mechanisms. The flaw is independent of what lock cylinder is used. The exploit works equally well on both low and high security applications.
So you notice they got a multi-lock. They do have a high security lock and a regular SC keyway over here. So we do have high security and standard cylinders, but the bypass doesn't have anything to do with the lock cylinder.
The problem lies in this mechanism that's installed inside the aluminum door frame. The lack of internal shielding allows us to insert a tool like this one that I sell over on covertinstruments.com and open the bolt in a matter of seconds. Let me show you how it's done. First, we insert the tool along the side of the door, then rotate the hook into position behind this locking bar. Once it's in place, we simply pull down on the tool and the bolt pops open. Let's also do it on the swing bolt version. Once again, the tool is inserted along the side of the door and the hook is rotated around the back of the locking bar. We can then simply pull down on the tool and the bolt opens up. Now, demonstrating this on my desk certainly does show the functionality, but it's a bit more impactful when you see the capability demoed in the field. So let's do that as well. Okay, folks, obviously this is an incredibly effective bypass, and I think the tool belongs in the kit of any locksmith or first responder who encounters commercial storefronts. In any case, that's all I have for you today. If you do have any questions or comments about this, please put them below. If you like this.
All right. So that'll get somebody's attention pretty quick. I've also ordered a couple of these tools just so that I can have them on the truck and do an actual live demonstration. Ron, have you seen that video before?
I have. I saw it a few months ago, tried to actually order the tool myself, and I think it was back ordered at the time.
Yeah, I've got a couple on my way. Sparrows makes another one that does a similar thing too. But if you notice, that video had 5 million hits. That's another selling point you have to describe to your customer. 5 million people in the country have seen that video and it's available to the public. Now, I can't contest or argue that he's put it on there. If it were me, I wouldn't have that video put up. I would personally not choose to put that information out, but I can't control what he does. So the fact that it's out there and it's got 5 million views means people know about it. Okay. So as soon as you send that to your customer, they usually are in a hurry to hand you a fistful of money so that you can prevent that from happening. All right. That's where you make the sale. Anytime you have a large gap in between two double doors, you can also make that sale just because of that gap as well. A lot of people like to keep it just because it seals things up. Like Ron said, it keeps the bugs and stuff out, rodents, all that fun stuff. And it speaks for itself. The beauty of the product is if you have it on the truck and you can show them, or you can show them a picture of what it is, it's self-explanatory. It doesn't require a lot of selling. It's just one major point. Bring something like that to their attention. The product's sold, they want it on their door immediately. Okay. So the tool list, and this is a tool list directly from Frontline. And Ron, I believe we spoke about this before. The Allen wrench, when I use a 3/16, it strips it out. If I use a 5mm, it fits perfect. So
yeah, I think we've actually changed our hex nuts since this was done, and it's one of the things we need to update on there. But I can see that.
yeah. So we've got a drill, 3/16" metal bit, 9/32 metal drill bit, step bit, heavy duty rivet tool. Or, I mean, you can use the hand ones or an automatic one, or however you want to do it. 3/16, or like I said, 5mm fit for me. Hammer, combination square, and a level is about all you're going to need to install these. We're going to show several different installations too. I'm going to show the hardest one first, and I documented the hardest one first for a reason, because that one needs the most detail. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have to start by removing all the door hardware, the lock cylinder, the protection ring, and this is actually our shop door. This is John Nolan and I are renting a shop together, and this is actually our front door, so we get to play with these fun things. And as soon as I get a new toy, the first thing we do is slap it up on the door. All right, so pull off the cylinders, pull out the Adams right mechanism, and pull off the handles. Anything that's going to be in the way that is not perfectly flush is going to need to be removed. Then we've got any kind of nut zerts or blind nuts, anything like that is going to need to be removed as well. Where do we have all that noise from?
Sorry, that might be me.
Oh, okay. All right. So the next thing you'll need to do is remove any nut zerts or blind nuts. You can use your step drill bit or a regular drill bit. I think I actually just used a step drill bit on this one, or that regular one right there. Get those out so everything's flush and flat. Now I'm going to actually drill back in through the door from the outside so that I have the alignment hole for the bottom here. The top one goes into the internal push bar to get out, so I don't need to re-drill that. But the one down here does need to be drilled through. And it's a lot easier if you drill it through this way, and then you can come back and drill it through the other way once it's installed. That's a little quick tip for you guys. After you get that off of there, the first thing that we're going to do is grab the frame side, and we're going to put that in place. You can see this piece here in the middle. This is how they interlock together. And this piece is the door side. The angle iron piece, or the angled piece, is the door side. Now, I've just got a regular, like a Fastenal hand pop riveter right here. And you'll use that drill bit. I got a kit that came with it with the drill bits that fit the exact same size. I believe that's that 3/16 drill bit that will work for us. So as long as you got a 3/16 drill bit and those larger, heavier duty pop rivets, you'll be just fine. The reason I use aluminum is because it's not going to rust or corrode or anything like that. It's going to keep the door looking pretty. I live in a very high-end affluent area, and I want to make sure that everything looks really nice. So we've got the frame side pop riveted in place. You can see you got a pop rivet here, here, and here. I put about 5 of them in, 5 or 6 of them in. And then you can see how the door side is going to interlock with it over here. Just make sure that they're level. So when you're looking at the top of the door, it needs to just look like it belongs there. And so you can use your level for that, or you can just kind of draw a straight line with your pencil and mark it that way. So once you have it lined up and properly in place, then we'll focus on the door side. I like to follow the natural lines of the door too. So I made sure that my line lined up with this line of the door right here, this piece of metal. Just again, keeping everything aesthetically pleasing. So you can see the trim piece, and the trim piece having access to that trim piece is going to be vital. You actually do not want to cover up that trim piece. Otherwise, you can't replace the glass if you break the glass. So keep that in mind, okay? Then I always carry a bunch of extra pop rivets. I actually use more than the kit sends. I actually use them on the door side as well, even though it just says to use them on the frame side. I use them on both just to hold it in place. Adding more is not going to hurt anything. Okay, so I've got my drill bit, my drill, my extras right here. This is what the drill looks like as you're drilling it in. Then you can pop rivet it on. I prefer this brand over like the Arrow ones that you get at the hardware store. Almost every time I buy one at Ace or Home Depot, that thing doesn't release the tails of the pop rivets properly, and then it gets stuck and jammed in there, and then I ended up getting angry and throwing it away because I spent more time messing around with the rivet tool than actually doing the job. But once I got this one from Fastenal, it's worked flawless. All right, so now we've got that all installed all along the side here. You can see what it looks like without the door side in place yet. You can see what the pop rivets look like. You secure the frame side with between 4 to 6 rivets. You can use a security pin and torque self-tapping screws if you choose. Some people want to add a little bit more security to it. You can also put regular Phillips head self-tapping screws on there and then take your carbide burr and actually grind out the Phillips head part of it so it turns it into a security screw. Lots of different ways. Main thing being, if this is on the secure side, whatever tool you use to install that, you need to make sure that you don't just have a simple tool to thread it back out once you're done. Even if you could possibly take this off, and even if somebody did drill all the pop rivets out, you still can't pull it out of there and you still can't access the other side. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever if they pull this piece off. All right. Do you have any questions or comments to add to that, Ron?
One thing I was going to say when you're talking about your pop rivets, highly recommend for the number of these you're going to do is buying the Milwaukee rivet tool. A lot of people out there swear by them. We've been giving them away for a couple of years. A fantastic tool. You'll save yourself a lot of time, and I think you'll love it.
Oh yeah, well, anything Milwaukee, I'm real happy about. So yeah, I'll probably pick one of those up. Then you're going to use, so one of the main things when you're taking that bolt kit apart, it's going to come with these little pieces of foam here to kind of tie all that stuff up. It's not trash. You actually need that. That little piece of foam is actually going to be your centering spacer when you install the door side on top of it. It's going to space everything. You're not going to be able to look or see and be able to run it one way or the other. And if it's not perfectly centered, then as that door sags or if something happens to it, if it moves, gravity, time, pivots wear out, whatever, then you're going to have other problems. You're going to have alignment issues in the future if you don't have it lined up perfectly centered. So you use that plastic foam wrap or a piece of cardboard and just put it on the edge of the frame side to center the door side of the interlock device. Does that make sense to everybody? You can see the foam right here. You can see what the interlock device looks like, and then you can see how it centers it. It self-centers everything on there. Let me just check the comments real quick and make sure that we've got everybody here and that we're answering all the questions. Highway and installed a few 2 years back. Foam trick was nice. Once install, okay, yes, I can hear fine. Remember the tool, small spring to press the latch. Yep, okay. You had them at Milwaukee. Yes, you did. Yep, okay, good. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box and I will answer them as we go. So now that we've got it centered and it's the same height on the door side, I'll put 2 or 3 pop rivets on the door side to just hold it in place so that when I get my drill, I can just go to town and really start drilling and hogging some things out of there, hogging that material out of there, okay? So I'll still put pop rivets on this side. That is my personal touch to it. It's not going to hurt to add anything to it, right, Ron? Does it matter?
No, not at all.
Okay, yeah, it's an aesthetic thing, how you want it to look, and just it's easier for me to just run those 2 in there because I've already got that drill bit loaded up in the drill and I've already got the pop rivet gun in my hand. Why not just throw that on there as opposed to try and line up barrel nuts and through bolts when it's not held in place? So that's my little tip for making it go faster. All right, and then when we start drilling, I prefer to start drilling the through bolts with a smaller drill bit, like a 1/4 inch, and then step up to the 9/16 or whatever size that the through nuts actually need. It's going to make it less effort to drill through. And then you want to make sure that you drill all the way through nice and straight. You don't want to be down or angled or real wonky, it won't make it look nice and straight and clean and professional. So make sure that you have everything nice, straight, clean, professional, and easy to go. And there again, we've got those Milwaukee tools, so I'll probably be picking up that nut setter too. I like to drill all the holes first and then add the bolts, because every time I pick a tool up and set it down, it costs more time. So I get my one drill bit, I drill all the holes, and then I step up to the size that I want and drill all the rest of the holes. Now all I have to do is pick up the bolts, put the bolts in and line all the bolts up and tighten them down. Okay. Got all of the holes here. 1, 2. I start at the top and bottom, and then I go to the middle, and then I just half the distance until I run out of bolts. Okay. So you just count the number of bolts you have. You could run a tape measure down if you want to do it that way and actually like measure them out. That would be one way to do it. Again, just for time's sake and speed, I just do top, bottom, middle, side, side. As long as you're not in the area where the locking device is. If you have vertical linkage or any other hardware that's going to be going into this door, you cannot use the through bolts. So if there's vertical linkage in this door, that's something people don't think about. You would have to use the pop rivets for the top if you had vertical linkage going up. And if you had vertical linkage both going up and down, you would only be able to use pop rivets on it. You would not be able to use the through nuts on it in any way. So keep that in mind. Same goes for the frame side. If you're installing on a double door, you can't have through bolts on the frame side or on the other door side. Okay. I found that the through bolt, a 5mm Allen wrench is needed, and that's what it looks like. Just grab your wrench. That's what it looks like on the inside. Obviously, the side where the tool would go into it goes on the inside where they could not access it, and the round goes on the outside. They can't do anything with it. You try and turn something on there, it's not going to happen. Now, if they have cutting tools, that's different, but still, there's only so much we can do. You want to put the round side out. Then I've got, I believe it's an 1.5 inch hole saw. Is that accurate, Ron? Do you know exactly what size it is? I'm pretty sure it's 1.5 inches.
Yeah, I think you've got that right.
Okay, so you got 1.5 inch hole dozer, Milwaukee saw, hole saw here, and take the pilot bit out. The reason that you're going to do that is because there's already going to be a hole to keep your hole saw centered through the door. All you need to do is press your hole saw up to it. If you try and keep that pilot drill on there, if you're slightly up or slightly over, then you're hosed when you get to the hole saw to the actual hole. Then it's going to try and drill through the side of the door and relocate your cylinder hole, and that is going to be bad times. You do not want that to happen. That is going to be really, really bad times. So take that pilot bit out. You'll notice it's not in here, and then you'll see what it looks like when we drill through. This is the most time-consuming part of the job, is just having to drill that little hole and take the hardware off the door and put it back on. I just use a razor knife or a file to go ahead and cut through there. Just take that little burr off. If you got a really big step bit, I have a really big step bit, you could use that. You're just cutting that material off of there so it looks professional and the people can't cut themselves, and that the cylinder properly seats itself on the on the interlocker. Then notice, remember when I told you guys to drill through all the way through the door for the handle mounting so that you have the location remembered? That's important now. Now all I have to do is drill from the backside and come back out. Okay. If you need to fill that on the inside, you can pop a nutsert in there and run a bolt in there, or you can cover it up with a sticker if they don't want to see that hole on the inside. Again, it just makes things faster. It's way easier than having to set that handle up there, try and figure out what the distance is, either through measuring or just setting it up on there and trying to draw that hole in there and then re-drill it. It's almost 99% guaranteed that you're going to miss by just a little bit, and then you're going to have to fight it all day. So here's my fancy little nutsert tool. You can get these. This is the ASTRO one. It runs off your impact driver. It sets those nut setters. So those rivet nuts, blind nuts, nutzerts, whatever you want to call them, it basically goes in and then it crushes itself kind of like a pop rivet, but it has threads on it. So you've got a bunch of threads. So rather than tapping and drilling the aluminum, which only gives you maybe 1 or 2 threads on a 1/4 by 20 screw or bolt, This is going to give you like 10 threads on the back side. So if you don't have a nutsert kit or know what riff nuts are, I highly suggest you get those. And this little tool right here is this most small and compact. All the other ones have those big handles that it takes to clamp down. They work fine, but I like to keep things, I have limited amount of room in my truck. So the smaller the tools and the more compact, the better for me. So we'll reset that for the top and bottom. And then we'll just use, we'll reattach the handle with a wrench. You can use a box wrench. If you have gear wrenches, they work really, really well and fast. You put your gear wrench on there, ratchet it down, don't strip it back out. It's going to be very difficult, if not practically impossible, to strip the nutsert out because you're going to have so many extra threads on there. All right, then you're going to reinstall the Adams Right lock and the locking cylinders. You might need to remove a spacer. So you are going to be adding, how thick are these? 1/8 inch, Ron?
They're,
3/16?
yeah, closer to 3/16.
Yeah, so it's not quite a quarter, but about 3/16. So I had to take, you'll notice on the inside, this cylinder is almost flush with that Kedex heavy duty cylinder guard. Out here, it's sunk in just a little bit. It's countersunk a little bit. So I did have to take one of those rings out in order to get it to seat properly. And since we added the thickness to the outside, I only removed the ring from the outside portion of it. The inside still the same. And this is great time for upsells, guys. This is where you turn a $500 or $600 job into a $700 or $800 job. Do they need a new Adams Right mechanism? Does that thing look like it's been through a battle or two? Is it barely functioning? Is it hanging on by a thread? Is it corroded? Is it nasty? Rehydrate it, lubricate it, put it back in, make that thing work better than it's ever worked for them, and they'll be happy with you, okay? Look for door closers. Look for hinges, pivots. Offer that continuous hinge sale. Like, this is the point where you can turn a regular job into an even bigger job, okay? And then look,
The
right
continue,
Go ahead.
sorry, Wayne, the continuous hinges is one of the easiest upsells here, especially when you're using the steel. Because
Yep.
if you're adding 17 pounds to the one side of the door and you've got weak or old hinges on the other side, it's often a pretty easy upsell to put a continuous hinge on there.
I would go, that's great information. I would go one step further to say, we've all seen those pivots that are hanging on by a thread, and we'll notify that customer, hey, you know, your door's literally about to fall off the hinges and fall on somebody and hit them. I would not even consider putting one of these on a door that had pivots in that condition. I would make them either replace the pivots or put a continuous hinge on it before I added that extra weight to it. So that's a great point, Ron. Thank you. All right, so just put everything back together and we're almost done. I mean, here it is. That's what it looks like. Now, how much bigger and beefier does that look? Just the intimidating look of it is going to make criminals go somewhere else. This is the main point of the job. We don't have to outrun the bear, people. We don't have to outrun the bear. All you got to do is outrun everybody else, okay? Just make them go to an easier location. Somebody comes up to this, they see all this extra hardware and these rivets and these bolts going through there. And I mean, this is some beefy stuff on this door. The neighbor, there's a nice big giant gap right there. Go to that door, go over there, okay? And as a matter of fact, I think, Ron, you've got some stories about you installed them on one side, on a couple stores on a strip mall on one side, because they were having crime issues. All of a sudden the crime went across the street. Then all those people, those customers or those buildings came over and were like, why is nobody over here getting broken into? And they looked up your patent numbers and they're like, how do we buy this? Then you put them on that side of the street. Now you sold 40 of them.
Yeah, actually, the one we did on the one side of the street, we did 9 of them on a set of buildings. A month and a half later, the guys crossed the street and they needed, I think it was 14 of them on their complex, and it turned into new strikes, new latches, new levers. I think it was a 2.5 day job, and it was $16,000 or something like that. It was
that's a
pretty good couple days.
Yeah, that's a real, and that's right there. Now you've taught your guys how to sell it, how to sell the upsell, and how to sell all the extra accessories. And that's how you can make those numbers. I mean, these are not fake numbers. $16,000 because you know how to install these interlockers. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I saw there was a question about whether or not it comes pre-drilled. And because you simply turn it over, whether it's a left-hand or right-hand door, there's no way for us to pre-drill them.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
too
that's Sean's
unpredictable
question.
as to where the hardware would fall.
Yeah, that's Sean's question. So that's good. I mean, I don't know, maybe you could, well, you could possibly order them right hand or left hand, but they move, they vary too much. It would
Yeah.
be too difficult for the, it literally, I'll show after we get done with this, we'll watch a full length video that shows the installation in real time on this door. It literally takes 30 seconds to drill that hole. It really does. And I just have a whole bag. I have a whole bag that just has, this is my interlock and my continuous hinge tool bag. It has everything I need. Go ahead.
It's pretty common. People tell me when I
You muted your mic.
they do takes them about 2 hours, but they know right away where they could cut the time. And my guys are down to about 40, 45 minutes. They can put these in.
Yeah.
But we've done 1,000.
Wow. Wow. Just imagine that, 1,000 with $500 profit. That sounds pretty
Wouldn't a Whitney punch be good for that?
What is it?
A Whitney punch?
Like an automatic center punch?
No, it's when I used to install sliding glass doors, it's a punch and you can set it and you just squint and it punches out a hole. They're only like $30. I mean, you could go boom, boom, boom.
I'm
And
not
even have to
familiar with
drill
the
out the hole.
product, but if you
Huh?
know that, I'm not familiar with the product, but if you know that it works, it would be something I could look into for sure. If you know that it works and it works, then use it. I'm just not familiar with
It's almost like a paper punch, but a lot thicker. It's made to punch through aluminum and stuff like that. And we used to, for the sliding glass doors when they had bypass on the outside and you had to hook them like that.
Mhm.
You set your depth because it has a little thing there and you just go down along and you punch out 5 or 6 holes in a matter of 30 seconds.
Okay.
And it's a
Well,
nice
yeah.
clean punch.
I'll look into it. I'll look into it for
And,
sure.
and they were only, last time I seen them, they were only like $30.
Good. Okay. Well, we'll take a look at it and we'll see. Thank you for that tip. I appreciate it. One of the best things you can do is make sure that you leave your mark. I guarantee you, and I'm sure Ron will back me up on this, when you start putting these on doors, the neighbors are going to come flocking over and they're going to be like, what is this? Even the customers that come in there, what is that? Why do you have that? What is it? Tell me about it and where can I get one? If you put your sticker on there, they're already going to have your phone number and your contact information so that they can come find you. Again, another big shout out to pbp2000.com. Professional Business Products are the ones that make my nice metal stickers. Yes, they are metal. And this metal sticker will also cover up that hole that you made for the handle on the bottom, should they not want to see it. Okay. Ron, you've had that happen. You've had people look up your patent numbers and find you just from the patent stickers on the door, right?
Quite often, absolutely. And we get calls out of many cities, and all we can do is send them to the local distributor and let them refer them to one of their local locksmiths. So best to just have it go direct to you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So put your stickers on the door and you'll get more business. I guarantee you'll get more business once you start installing them and people start seeing them. All right, so that's going to be the total installation. We will have some extra videos. Class is not over yet. I just wanted to make this one last announcement. This is the last time I'm offering the lifetime membership for $250. So if you like what you see and you like the education style that I have, I've got like 1,000 videos in my library on everything from car opening, safe work, safe moving, safe opening, storefront servicing, commercial hardware installation, impressioning, everything you want, anything you could possibly imagine. I've got it over there at wayneslockshop.com. Scan that QR code, fill out an application, put in the word lifetime, and I will get you guys that lifetime membership. Okay. I'll leave it up here for just another second if you want to scan it with your phone. After this month, after September, I am raising the rates to $285. So this is the last time it'll be $250. We've got too many people that are utilizing that that asset. We've got our disclaimers again, and we're going to do our start to finish video, aluminum storefront video. We'll have a hollow metal door installation video, and then we'll have a couple other ones where it shows people trying to attack them and trying to bypass them and failing miserably. Independently of the cylinder, and it's heavy duty enough that it's not going to crush. Let's start that from the beginning. Here with Strike County Locksmith Service, and today we're going to take a look at. If you have any questions, I'll answer them in the chat box as the video is playing. And installing a full-length ultimate security latch guard. It is from Frontline Defense, and this is the solution to. This is going to be the most important thing you can do for your storefront security. Now, a while ago, a guy online, the lockpicking lawyer. So we have one question here. If the door sags later on, will the latch guard prevent the door from shutting and locking, or will the guard keep the door in place? It would, my answer to that, and maybe Ron can put his 2 cents on it too. I mean, if it's going to sag that much, you've got almost a 1/4 of an inch. It's like a 1/2 inch in there, and then it's 3/16 piece of metal. I would say that yes, it could do that, but if the door is going to sag that far, you're going to run into other issues anyway. The door itself is going to be hitting the frame, or it's going to be dragging on the floor, and the interlocker is going to drag as well. What's your response to that, Ron?
Absolutely. If your door is going to sag, and quite often, as you were saying earlier, that the hinges start to go. If that door is going to sag, it's really an opportunity to sell a new hinge, because if it's going to sag, it's going to sag, and yeah, you have to correct that problem as fast as you can. And yeah, you've got other problems. This certainly isn't going to keep the door in place if it's a sagging door. It's just going to sag over time more and more.
Correct. Yeah. And this goes back to anytime I install new hardware or even electronic access or anything on a door, that door health inspection to see if that door is even a good candidate for this product or any other product for that matter is part of the job. If you don't have a healthy opening, adding things to it is not going to make it better, except for fixing the problem and actually adding a continuous hinge to it. We have one other question. Do you have to cut the jam hole for the hook or deadbolt? No, there's no cutting on the frame side. The only thing you have to cut is the lock hardware hole. Correct? You've never had to cut that.
Oh no, there's nothing that comes anywhere near that part of the door.
On a hollow metal frame door, you will have to cut the part of the strike plate that sticks out, though. Correct? Yes.
If the electric strike sticks out, if you've got, and that's a whole other topic we should talk about, is if you've got an electric strike that is not flush, sitting flush with the frame, then you'll want to go to the 2300 series, the 1 3/4 inch wide throat that will wrap around that and keep it out of the way. Because this is a problem that often comes up is if this can't sit flush, if the door and frame can't sit flush, then you've got to find an alternative, and you don't cut out that section. I've seen it where people have cut out that section and left the electric strike completely exposed.
That defeats the whole purpose.
Exactly. You look at it and say, what was this person thinking? But yeah, the 2300 series is designed exactly for that. It's got that 1 3/4 inch throat on it. And I love taking that one to shows, because I hand it to people all the time, and it weighs about 23 pounds. And I hand it to people. I say, if you're a criminal, you want to fight this bad boy, or you want to go next door? And they pick it up and they're going, yeah, I'm not going anywhere near this. It's a great thing to sell when you've got a full length one sitting there with you.
Right. My question was the strike plate on a hollow metal frame door and hollow metal door. The strike plate, the curved part that sticks out, that you have to cut.
That you will have to cut away.
Okay. Yeah. And that'll be in the next video that we show. It's actually one of Frontline's videos that we snagged for that. So, all right, continuing on. A video of his little tool. Basically, it's just a thin little piece of wire like this. It slides in down in here alongside this. It grabs the latch and it allows you to unlock it just like so. Okay, so we have a lot of high security things already in place here, but bypasses like this make the lock obsolete. So what do we have here? First of all, we've got a Schlage Primus locking system here, and a fairly a higher security key. So it's Primus. We've got a locking, a high hardened security locking ring here, so you can't take vice grips and apply them to this ring and try and twist the cylinder out of there. That's a really common bypass method as well. So we've got that covered. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to be showing you a few of the most common ways to bypass a lock like this, like the one I just showed you. I'm also going to show you an angle grinder. Okay, we've got a little bit of gap right here. So if there's a little bit of gap, we can take our angle grinder, and it's not going to matter what kind of key we have here. Okay, I'm just going to take this, got our safety blade and everything on there. Show you that it is indeed locked. I'll bring you over just this way a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to have a little airbag right in here to push this all the way forward, and that way I'll be able to finish cutting the rest of the way through that lock. There you have it. Pretty devastating what you can do with cordless power tools these days. The technology is absolutely astounding. I just cut through this. It's got a hardened steel piece in here, but that hardened steel piece is no match for an angle grinder. Okay, so I just showed you, even though we have high security locks and we have the higher security ring right here, we still have mechanical bypasses and vulnerabilities for this door. So we're going to fix that today. We're going to put a full length latch guard on here. It's going to be interlocking like this, and it is going to be ultimately way badass. Let's get started. This is the Frontline Defense 1001 anodized aluminum for outswing doors. Okay, that means you're going to have two pieces. Come out of here. And this is going to bolt to the actual door itself. And then this other angle on our piece is going to bolt to this here. And when it closes, these two are going to interlace. And what I just did will no longer be possible, at least not very easily. You're going to have to make a whole lot more of an effort. In fact, I don't think it would actually be possible simply because you won't have enough depth. You'd have to actually have this open. It's going to create not enough depth, so my saw is not actually going to reach the lock bolt. Okay, you're also not going to be able to see the gap, so you won't be able to time it perfectly. So let's get this thing installed. All righty, so we're going to start by taking we're going to have to take all of this off of the door. So we're going to start off by taking the lock cylinders out. This is also the difference between doing things in the field and running into real world problems and doing it in a classroom setting.
This is a real world experience where the set screw is not coming out, it's frozen in place, and we have to deal with that.
And we're gonna have to drill that out. This screw is now broken and stripped, so that'll be fun. Okay, we'll show you how to do that then. I guess this will be a really good learning experience today. All right, Dremel tool with a carbide tile cutting bit. And I've also got this one here. So carbide is what's going to drill through that screw. I'm going to try the drill first. If that doesn't work, then we'll move to something different. But we're going to be replacing this anyway, so it's not going to matter. It's not doing it as fast as I want it to. There we go. Now she's gone. Okay, be able to here. Turn it right out. Well, that's how you deal with one of those. Like I said, we're going to be replacing this anyways, so it's not really going to matter. And here's our Keydex high security hardened ring. These are awesome. You try and get vice grips or something on them. They're hard, so it won't. The metal is as hard or harder than the steel on the vice grips. So you can't get a bite on it to turn it, and it's just going to turn free spin independently of the cylinder, and it's heavy duty enough that it's not going to crush on the cylinder. I'll do a demonstration of this after the fact if you guys want to see that. But this is all about total security on this door. So now that we've got that off, this side off. So this off. This off. Okay. So this is your typical inch and an eighth back set. And you can see what we're doing when we access this little piece here. That's what that bypass tool is doing. It's coming right up in here. And it's grabbing a hold of this piece and pulling it down and basically bypassing the lock and key. We're not going to let that happen anymore. Okay. Crescent wrench with the
Small crescent wrench makes easy work of this task.
all of these things are actually going to help hold that full length latch guard in place. The difficulty, you should actually be embracing the special knowledge and difficulty required to install these on aluminum storefront doors, because you're going to have to install it for them. The average person cannot tear all this hardware apart and put it back together successfully. They don't know how it works. Most people don't even know how to pull the plate off of the cover to even expose the screws. So the fact that it's complicated only works in your favor, and you should charge accordingly for doing so. So the cylinder is going to actually be holding it in place. The handle is going to be holding it in place. All of the things that are here are going to be holding it in place. That off. We're going to get this bottom one. If you have gear wrenches, they would really, really help in this situation. They'll make your job faster and easier. I have a set, I just don't have it here with me.
When we go to reapply this, we can either tap and thread, or we can nut zert.
Here, just like so, and stick it over there. Now we'll have to drill these nut zerts off of here so that we have a flush surface to actually mount this to. You can see it's going to mount on here just like that. We're going to have to re-drill all of those holes. We're going to have to re-drill this hole here, but that's a good thing, because if somebody comes along and they try and drill the screws or drill the rivets out, they can't have access to this to be able to pull this off. They're not going to be able to pull this piece off of the door. It's going to be really cool and make this door extremely, extremely pry resistant. It's going to eliminate almost all the defeat methods that could be attacked through this edge right here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use this unibit and drill these out so that we have a smooth, flat surface. Out just like so. Be a little warm. And then drill this one out. Then I'm actually going to get a drill bit and drill all the way through so that I know where to drill to come back. That makes sense. What I'm going to do is, when we mount this on here, I'm going to pull the inner bar off here. That's going to give me a hole here. And then down here, I've already that hole that I just drilled through, I'm going to be able to use that as my alignment to drill back through this piece, so I know where to drill. Okay, that way we'll have the same hole in the same exact spot. We can either tap it and thread it, or we'll probably put a nut zert in. Okay, All right, so now we're going to use the pop rivets and this drill bit right here, along with the pop rivet gun. This is just an easy, cheap one you can get at the hardware store. You can also buy battery operated ones and other things like that. Just going to take a picture of this here. So, and then we'll go ahead and what the directions say to do, because it says remove all handles and locks or hardware from the door. So we've already done that. It's already prepped. So then we affix the mail plate to the exterior of the door framing with the supplied rivets. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm basically going to fuse them together. I'm going to pull it in place, pull the outer plate off, and then go ahead and drill and bolt this thing on there, rivet it off. I'm going to set both of these together like so. Okay. I'm going to set it like this. Pick it up. I want it. I want this piece to make sure that it's all the way over to the edge. Okay. Right there. Just like that. Okay. Now that I've got that centered, I'll take this piece off. I'll grab my drill. Rivet gun. Fits through. Fits through. Cinch her down. And that'll pop out just like that.
If you do a lot of these, they do make an automatic rivet gun that comes cordless, and you could install a bunch of these really fast.
Everything's all nice and lined up down there. And then we'll go ahead and we'll get this piece, start bolting it on. I think it takes pop rivets too. And then we'll use the through bolts and bolt it on over here as well.
Having sharp drill bits is definitely going to be in your favor. I always carry brand new bits. It just makes the job that much easier and go that much faster, and it's less fatigue on your body. I include the price of drill bits in the install.
That ought to be good for that. Then we'll do the door side and call it good. So you can get a piece of cardboard. We got a question, Ron. How much space is required to accommodate the product?
On the door?
I believe so. Like if you, well, let's say there wasn't glass over here, but it was like brick.
On the left-hand side on your door.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna need about 1.5 inches on that side. They are different, like if you flip it over, they are a little bit different in width. So sometimes you use the wider, sometimes you use the narrower side. But
Okay.
Generally, yeah, I mean, if you're right up against a brick edge, honestly, when we've had a 90-degree brick edge in there, we've left the L angle right off.
And then that just, the door side.
It acts, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers your question. And yeah, I can see how that would work. If it's tied up against the brick, you're not going to get anything through there either. It's its own interlocker.
If it's too tight to get the L angle in, then it's tight enough that you can leave it out.
Yep. It's supposed to be like this little stuff here, this little foamy stuff. We can rip this into 2 different pieces. So that basically what we're doing is we're having it help align the door. So we put this stuff right here. Okay. So what it's going to do is it's going to give us space. It's going to help us space this on either side of the door. So I'm going to leave that one up there. And I'm going to do this one down here. And now that's going to help space the door. It's going to help center the it's going to help center the guard on there. Get my drill. We'll do just like we did on the other one right there.
Spacing these out nice and even and making sure that they match with everything is going to make a nice, clean looking installation.
It's always good to have a buffer gun set. You can always use them. This is the F&L. I'll post a link to this one from Fastenal. I think is where I got it, but it works really good. Cool. Now we can pull this off and then start drilling the through bolts. There are actual through bolts that go on here, like so. So we'll start putting those in next. I'm definitely a proponent of pre-drilling smaller holes. So we're going to start off with this size, and then we're going to move up to the larger size. The 3/8 is what I'm measuring. I didn't actually see.
He has 9/16 listed on the product sheet, and that will hold the barrel nut better and tighter. If you use 3/8, it won't hold it in place, but it'll also give you a little bit more wiggle room. So that's going to be up to you. The directions say 9/16.
A direct measurement size, but I just have my drill bit guide, and that seems to be just slightly bigger than the through bolt. Okay, so we're going to drill these. We'll just kind of evenly space them. If you want to measure about, you can. I'm just going to kind of follow along with the ones we already have on here, and then just kind of split the difference between them. So I've got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to put in. 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts to put in.
Just in case you're wondering how long the entire installation takes, these can be done in under an hour. I've got them down to about 30 to 45 minutes alone on my own right now. Obviously, this is going to take a little longer explaining everything.
Okay, now we'll jump up to the 3/8. This will be our final drilling.
Again, that stepping up process, starting with a small bit and getting larger slowly, will save your drill bits and your back.
So now we're going to get the through bolts, 6 bolts, 2 bolts, whatever you want to call them. Okay, they're going to go just like this, and then we're going to put this portion on the inside, round portion on the outside. If you need a double secure.
Question's been asked, how much do we charge to install the product? We mentioned that at the beginning of the program. I'm getting $650, $685 all day long for these things. And at that rate, you're making about $500 an hour because the product costs you about $150, $180.
Your system, you can alternate them. If people who shouldn't have access to both sides. Let's say a prison, correctional facility, mental institution, or a rehab center, then you can alternate. We do the same with the hinges too. Notice that we're going to go over that with the hinge over here. Okay, that hinge, you can't just peel the cap off and take the bolts off. It's not going to work because the bolts stagger and alternate. You can't do that. So we think of every single thing possible that we know of ways that people try and break into things and come up with a solution for it. So for these, I'm going to put all the round caps on the outside. There's no need for me to alternate here. And we want it to look nice and be uniform because this is literally the entrance to my shop. So this is it. I want it to look pretty and functional.
That 5mm Allen head is the one that fit for me. If I had to do it over again, I would have a bit set up and an impact driver too.
Now, side note, I was using standard US SAE standard Allen head. However, it seems as though this 5mm metric is going to actually fit better. So that's 5mm metric. My other one was stripping. This is not. Okay.
Be careful not to over torque these and warp the door. Because it is a through bolt, you could easily crush the door or make it warped where it doesn't look like a very professional install. However, those through bolts actually make this door look really beefy when done properly from the outside.
So what happened was there's a hold open leg at the bottom, a little foot. I had to take that off in order to get my mounting on it, and then we could re-add it later.
Definitely need to make sure you take off all the hardware that could possibly get in your way during this installation.
There we go. In nice and tight. Now we're gonna start putting the hardware back on and drilling our holes that need to go through this to start allowing us to mount that hardware back on. All right, so now we've got our hole dozer. 1.25 inches. So this is 1.25
Inch and a quarter. That's it.
right there. Hole saw, it's a bimetal hole saw. I'll put a link to this down below if you want to purchase this Milwaukee hole saw through the link on Amazon. We have an affiliate link. We get a small commission for it, and we appreciate your support. So now I'm going to be using the existing hole to go through to the other side. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pilot drill out. Here's why. I know I'll be centered if I'm through the hole on the other side, and that'll keep it in place, keep it from jumping around. What'll happen if I don't take the pilot bit out is the drill bit, if I'm not perfectly centered, could drag me off, and then I'll miss my hole and miss my target. So here I'm utilizing what's already available on the door to allow it. So I'm going to take that pilot bit out like so, okay? That way you can drill right through, okay? So now you can see right here, right there on the other side, just like so. And we're through. Okay, now we got our hole back nice.
I just fast forward 2 little pieces to save everybody's ears. The drill does not sound good coming through the microphone.
To meet right there. Fifth trick, you can take your razor knife, like so, come back and you can trim all of this hard stuff off of here, okay?
You can just peel all that stuff right off, just like so. Okay, get all this nasty burrs. If you got a file will work, but I find that just cleans it up really nice. I go through these blades fairly quickly, so I just have a whole case of them, so I'm not worried about ruining the blade. We'll just slap a new one on there. And so now we're going to need to drill the hole through and add a nut zert in so that we can reinstall the handle. Okay.
Put it in the chat box. How many people in here are familiar with or have used nut zerts before? Have you guys used them? Familiar with them? Know what they are? How many people have not? Put it in there and let me know.
The thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it is in fact 1/4x20 and that I have a 1/4x20 nut zert, which we do just like so. And then I'll show you this really cool tool used to set the nut setter. Really cool, compact. I also have the drill bit set in here. It's
awesome. Most everybody here is pretty familiar with them. If you haven't seen this little compact one, I highly recommend it. I've bought all the big bulky ones. And again, having room on the truck and storing them in where they're easy to access is definitely going to be key. So this little kit right here really makes quick work of it. And it makes the drill do all the work. Also, the big long ones with the big clamps on them, you have a tendency to not install them straight, or you break the mandrels or bend the mandrels on them.
It's not 3/8. For the ones that I have, it looks like it's 11/32. And you can see that. But I keep it right in here with the tool so that I can grab it whenever I need it. And put this on. Now the hole that we drilled on the inside, that's going to give me the hole that I need to come back through and out the other side. Just like so. Hold it nice and straight. I can actually feel where I'm in the hole on the other side. There you have it. Now we're through. And now I'm going to grab my tool and my rib nut here.
Making sure that all of your holes are lined up and that this particular installation is nice and level is going to be key to making sure you have a good looking professional installation.
All right, so now we're gonna drill this hole through for the top portion of this. It's not gonna go all the way through the door, it's only gonna go to right here.
I can just look inside and see where the hole
That's
goes
your
through.
time. So if you haven't seen one of these before, you can see how it works. Okay, look at that, comes up, and then as we turn on this, it pulls it back down. So I'm gonna thread it back out. This is the 1/4x20. They give you a bunch of different ones right in here. I'll post a link for this down in there too. Go ahead and thread this on. You want to make sure you have quite a few threads through there. Okay. And you can use your impact driver or whatever you want to set it. Okay. Basically, it's just going to crush this thing. I can show you how it works here. See how you get that wrinkle? That wrinkle is going to be where the door is, the aluminum in between the two. And then we have threads to go ahead and mount to. So I'm going to take this one off, and that's what it looks like inside the door. Your aluminum gets pinched in here. So I'm going to grab one other one, two other ones rather. And the door.
I cannot tell you how many times these Nudzert kits have saved my tail doing storefront work out in the field.
Now I put everything back. And I put the drill bit, because it's a weirdo size drill bit, 11/32 for the particular Nudzerts that I have. Sometimes they're 3/8, sometimes they're 11/32. Put everything back together, put it back in the pack out system. Now I've got it for next time, and it'll be easy to access. Now we can start putting the handle back on the door. Got my 2 screws here.
If you accidentally over drill the hole for the handle or have to move it in order to remount it, I usually carry washers on the truck just in case. That way you do have a little bit of wiggle room to expand that hole if you need to, or try and Dremel it out and move it down. Hopefully you get it on the first try. The unfortunate thing about Nudzerts is once they are installed, they do not move. You cannot move them. They are a permanent solution.
So we've got an 1 1/8" back set hook bolt. This one is from Ilco. You can use whichever brand you want. Hook bolt, here's the part number and stuff off of this one right here. 1 1/8" back set. And then just like the other one, you kick this out. It actually has that hooking effect. Therefore, this one needs the hook because it's only so shallow and it grabs up underneath there. So if you try and pry that door away from it, it actually hooks and grabs rather than just pull straight out. It actually pulls the frame with it. So you're not even going to have access to that anymore because of the door, the Frontline Defense that we put on there. So let's put this on. Screws. Come with these little guys right here. Let's see if we can. There we go. Better. Beautiful.
With everything else that went wrong with this job, I was surprised that the holes didn't strip out, but we got lucky.
Leave it just a little loose so that we can install the cylinder. Okay, I'm just going to give that one a few turns. Give the outside one a few turns. We might, because we added a little bit of thickness to it, I think I'm going to have to take this ring out. Okay, so that'd be something you have to remember. You might need a little bit thicker cylinder, or you may have to take a ring out in order to get it to fit again. Yeah. Tighten up the screws.
Run the cylinder until it's tight, back it off till it sits flush and vertical.
So. Do that at first. Okay, we'll tighten this one down. Now we're going to check for our alignment, make sure that it's aligned. Beautiful. Very little play in the door. Okay, back and forth, but it works nice and smooth. You do it with one hand. Now, my grinder or any kind of pry bars or anything are not even going to be able to get to the work area. Even if you were to pry this back, you still wouldn't be able to get past the lip into the work area and then try and pry that way. The hook bolt is also hooking into the frame. So if you try to pry, it's going to pull the frame with it. You can't get your saws or any kind of tools or anything in between here. And this is the ultimate setup for storefront security in North America now. So we've seen videos on how to bypass that. We've noticed it as a problem. And now we have a solution through Frontline Defense. For information on all the products you see here, check the link below in the description box. I'll put links to all the different products and hit that subscribe button and click, ring that bell. So that way, next time we have a video, you can learn how to do these things, improve your security, or if you're a locksmith or technician, you can go out there and add this to your toolbox and make your customers more secure. For more information, check out the website below. All right, so now we've got.
If you want to reference this video in the future, all you got to do is type in the title, most significant security flaw in North America, Frontline Defense, full latch guard, and it'll come right up. You can add my name to it if it needs to narrow the search, but if you put in these words right up here, it'll pull right up for you and you'll be able to go ahead and install it and rewatch the video as you need for your jobs. You can also send this to your techs and employees so that they can learn how to do it as well.
The complete all the way down, full entire length latch guard on here. I wouldn't even be able to reach the bolt now, because if you see where this meets, okay, it doesn't actually even allow it to reach anymore. You're going to stop here, and that's nowhere near where the bolt is actually going to be. So this is no longer an option. Pry bars are no longer an option. Sawzall is no longer an option. You can't even tell exactly where the line is in order to get in. Also, if you take a look over here, because of the interlaced design, even if you could pry some of this back, it's still not going to help you. You still can't get past the inner layer to get into this side. This is why the system is so much better than just a typical flat latch guard. It's through bolted all the way through. It's pop riveted on this side. You could add pin and torque self-tapping screws if you wanted to increase strength. I don't think we're going to have any problem with that. I think people are going to see all of this, and rather than trying to break in here, they're going to go over there, or they're going to go over there. They're going to leave this door alone. Also, if you take a look over here, we've got a continuous hinge mounted on this side. Therefore, they can't just pop hinges off and try and pull it off that way. Even if they could, it still wouldn't work because the hook bolt that we use is going to hook into the frame, and it's not going to allow that to come off of there. So we've addressed the hinge side, we've addressed the lock side, and this door is all but break-in or pry. It's about as break-in and pry resistant as you can get. Now, one more little tip. The big thing is the glass. Of course, they could break the glass. Of course, we have alarm systems and cameras and all those layers of security that are going to prevent that from happening. However, you could replace this with a product called AR2 polycarbonate, which is a glass substitute, and it's the same thing they make ballistics bulletproof glass out of. It's basically plastic polycarbonate, and you can hit it with a hammer and it will not break. You can shoot at it, and if it's in a thick enough format for that caliber of weapon, it won't penetrate it. So that'll probably be the next thing we do, and then really this door is as good as it's going to be. Short of driving a truck through this, you're not getting in, or you have the key. Thanks for watching. For more information, check out the link below and check out Frontline Defense, who makes this incredible latch guard system.
Okay, So
Alrighty, so today we're gonna be taking
What's
apart
happening?
the,
I really don't feature any products that I don't believe in and use myself. I actually contacted Ron on this one because I thought it was such a great product. So there's no sales pitch or anything here. It's really what I think, it's really what I feel, it's really what I believe. And that's because it works and it's self-explanatory. So do you have anything you'd like to say, Ron? Do you have any tips?
Yeah, I just
or-
wanted to add, thanks, Wayne. I just wanted to add some product information that, to let people know, they come in 10 gauge aluminum or 12 gauge steel, 4 different colors, white, black, brown, or silver. You can get different widths of them depending on how wide your door is. And they can go on whether it's wood, steel, glass, aluminum, there's always an answer. And I would say anyone, anytime, if you have questions, I've walked a lot of people through installs over the phone. Give us a call at the office. You probably get Michelle on the phone, but if she can find me somewhere around here, I'm happy to talk to anybody about the product anytime. And anybody who wants to see it live and talk to me in the next 8 weeks or so, I'm going to be in Minneapolis at Doyle Show. I'm going to be in Chicago at the end of October at IDN. I'll be at Yankee, and I'll be in Las Vegas for Intermountain at the beginning of November.
Very nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us here. And this is a moneymaker. It's a no-brainer, easy moneymaker for everybody in the industry. It really, really is. And as soon as you start installing them, you can plan on installing more of them, because once people start seeing them, they're going to want them on other buildings they own, or the neighbors are going to come over and they're going to be hunting you down to find where to get one of these, especially if economic times go down. Economic times go up, people are spending money on security. Economic times go down, the same thing. So very recession resistant, and it's definitely a lot of opportunities to make keep your business funded. We do have some other videos on that show it how to do it on a hollow metal door too, but I also want to value everybody's time. Is there any questions that anybody has right now? If you'd like to unmute your microphone, we can go ahead and ask any of those.
I'm pretty sure I've asked this before, but when it comes to aluminum doors, I would like to have a 2-inch size one, because the door style is 2 inches. So if the door sits proud of the frame, it's all great, but if the door is recessed in a frame, we always end up cutting the aluminum ones down. And 1 7/8 that's made for steel, it just leaves an 1/8 of an inch that's doesn't look as pretty as I would like it to.
You're looking for an aluminum one aluminum in 2-inch?
Yes, I want that flat part to be 2 inches so it covers the style exactly.
The steel, I could do it for you. Aluminum is much tougher to do a whole new die. If you'd like it in steel, I can put that together for you.
Yeah, I would definitely like that. I said it, the one, when you're putting in the steel ones on the aluminum frame, you have that 1/8 of an inch that's not quite covering the style. Sometimes you put in a cylinder guard or something, it doesn't look as nice as I would like it to.
So the 1 7/8, the 2000 series, you find is just a little bit too narrow?
Yeah, it's a little bit too narrow. If it was 2 inches, it would be perfect, or anything that's 2 inches, it would be perfect. Just, we usually end up taking them, then cutting them down by 3/8 of an inch.
Mhm.
But
So you're buying the 2100 series and cutting off the 3/8.
Right.
If you want a 2-inch, I can make it. Send me an email and let's talk about it tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. I will definitely do that.
Okay,
I
thanks.
know that's a great product. It's definitely earned my respect.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you can be reached, your email's over there at frontlinedefense.com, right?
Yeah, whether info@frontlinedefense.com or directly to me at ron@frontlinedefense.com, and defense spelled with an SE on the end. That's where mistakes usually are made.
If you want, you can put it in the chat box too.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we'll just go through any other questions here. I'm going to do the hollow metal door installation. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to ask them. Blocks
If you have any questions, please contact us at 1-866-260-6877 or email info@frontlinedefense.com.
So somebody said it blocks the thumb turn tool as well. Would need a cover for under the door tool. Well, you can't do under the door tool if it's got a exit. The only time an under the door tool would work is if it had a lever, but that is a good point. What is the name of the polycarbonate you mentioned? A as in Adam, R as in Robert, 2 polycarbonate. Ron, do you guys have something? You guys have something you're trying to do with that plastic stuff too, right?
We do. It's called rock glass. Comes in different thicknesses, and something we just started a few months ago. But yeah, we've got everything from 6 mil to 6. I've got some 16 millimeter pieces in here that'll stop a bullet.
Yeah, I've played with it too. It's pretty cool. We got one question. How does it work with dead latches and the strike?
Depends on the dead latch. No matter what kind of latch you've got on this, we've got a product that'll work. So you just have to work around any protrusion or anything like that, but it's easy enough to do.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll watch this thing here. Oh,
You can,
oops.
to begin,
There we go. Start from the
welcome
beginning.
to Frontline Defense Systems Incorporated. This video will show you the basic steps to install our full door interlocking astragals, or as we refer to them, interlockers. To begin, you will require the following tools: a drill, a 3/16 inch metal drill bit, a 9/32 inch metal drill bit, a step bit, a heavy duty rivet tool, a size 3/16 inch Allen wrench.
Somebody asked if the extra mass of the interlock would even give enough wiggle room to air wedge the top of the door or the top or the bottom of the door. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to give you very much room. It's going to make it really difficult. And I don't think it would accomplish the goal very well. Maybe if the door and the frame are really sloppy.
Yeah, not a properly installed door. I can't see it.
No, a healthy door with a healthy frame, probably not.
A hammer, a combination square, and a level. You may also require a 3/16 inch concrete drill bit, hacksaw or metal cutting saw, a metal hole saw, a small metal grinder, and a measuring tape. Your interlockers will come packaged with all of the installation hardware required for a typical install.
This is an old video.
It is.
From before I even owned the company.
2015.
When unpackaging the interlocker, remember to keep.
And it's the only one I could find. I didn't have a chance to do it on the hollow metal door.
Later for aligning the interlocker.
If you look at our Facebook page, there's a lot of examples of before and after pictures, and there's some fantastic looking white ones on there too, where you've got a white door, typically in an underground parkade. It looks amazing when you use the white or the black on the right application.
Nice. Yeah, well, hey, I know a video guy that can get you some updated videos.
The interlocker with the door, check to see if the striker plate extends beyond the door jamb.
That's what I was talking about right here.
You'll need to cut flush with the jamb using a hacksaw.
That's our old warehouse. We've quadrupled our size since then.
Nice.
Now, remove all weather stripping and any other door hardware that may interfere with installation and put to the side. This can be replaced once the install has been completed. Put the two parts of the interlocker together and measure it against the door. The interlocker can be.
Look, you can see right there where somebody's tried to pry it.
Also note the position of the latch set and deadbolt. If they interfere with the interlocker can be trimmed to fit around the door hardware using a metal hole saw or metal cutting wheel. There are 3 different widths of interlocker available to minimize trimming for latch set. The L-shaped interlocker or male piece will be mounted on the door jamb level with the top of the door. Drill your first hole in the interlocker centered approximately 1 inch from the top edge using the 3/16 inch drill bit. Then mark the hole on the jamb and drill a corresponding 3/16 inch hole. If the metal door jamb is filled with concrete, switch to a concrete 3/16 inch drill bit once you pierce the metal.
I actually have a little tip for that too, so you don't destroy a bunch of metal drill bits, because as soon as that metal drill bit touches the concrete, you pretty much roasted that bit. Use self-tapping screws. then and you just throw away a screw, and then you get your carbide bit and it'll drill right through the concrete. All you have to do is make a pocket or a hole so that it goes in there. That way you're not trashing drill bits. And that's why I wanted to show this video, was for the concrete installation as well, metal door and concrete.
Use the riveter to attach the male interlocker to the jamb. With the male interlocker attached at the top of the jamb, ensure the interlocker is plumb to the door. The gap between the door and the interlocker should remain consistent from the top of the door to the bottom. Once aligned, drill your second 3/16 inch hole 1 inch from the bottom of the interlocker and install your second rivet. You can now measure and mark the locations of the rest of the holes. Ensure the holes do not line up with the deadbolt or latch set position. The door will have a total of 6 rivets holding the interlocker. They should be spaced from...
You have a question, Ron. Do you have any plans or anything for sliding glass doors?
Yes. It's a little bit of something we put together using an offset astragal and an L angle together.
Yeah, so they would slide like that.
Yeah, they'd overlap each other when the door closes. We've done it a couple times. It's special packaging on our end. It's not something we typically sell together, so it's a special order.
Yeah.
We've done it maybe half a dozen times, but it works pretty good. The in-swing interlockers, the aluminum in-swings also work extremely well for that.
Oh, okay. I actually have one of those still. I just haven't installed it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, the Y channel on the in-swing just fits right into the L angle when the L angle is mounted on the frame.
I got a sliding glass door. I'll try it out.
from 14 to 16 inches apart. Once marked, you can drill the rest of the holes. Once the holes are drilled, attach the remaining rivets. Now you can align the C-shaped or female interlocker with the male interlocker. Using the foam packing material as spacers, squeeze the female interlocker over the male. The foam packing material will ensure the two pieces are square and have proper clearance. Now mark your bolt holes to correspond with the rivets. Using a 9/32 inch metal drill bit, drill holes for the mounting bolts. The starter holes should be drilled 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the bottom of the female piece, the same as the male piece. Once drilled, use a metal step bit to bore out the hole on the inside of the door. Install the top and bottom mounting bolts through the interlocker and door with the flush mounting bolts using the size 3/16 inch Allen wrench.
Also, if you do have to have those carriage bolts, they're all going to come in silver. If you have to get them colored, I have taken some to the local powder coating shop and they will powder coat them.
The hex nuts come in brown, but the carriage bolts.
Well,
also.
either way, one side or the other,
Yeah.
you're going to have silver on brown.
Yeah.
Infield hole. Once the bolts are installed, check alignment. Tap the exterior bolts with a hammer to set them in the frame and give the flush mounting bolts a final tightening. You may need to slightly enlarge the striker plate opening with a grinder or file to ensure the latch engages smoothly. Weather stripping and any other hardware that has been removed can now be replaced. The installation is complete, and your building entrance is now protected by the patented Frontline Defense system. If you have any questions, please contact us at 1-866-260-6877 or email info@frontlinedefense.com. You can also visit our website at frontlinedefense.com to access our written instructions and videos, see our complete line of interlocking astragal sizes and colors, order a custom size, or inquire about joining our distributor network.
Cool. Do we have any other questions? Would anybody else like to unmute their microphone and let us know?
Yeah, we do buy enough of this guys through IDN. Is there an advantage to being a distributor versus just buying from a distributor?
We don't sell direct, we only sell through distributors. So unless you're a reseller, we won't sell direct to you anyway.
That's part of that video being 15 years old or 10 years old or whatever. It's from like 2015, I believe. So maybe that was they didn't have distributors picking them up at that point in time, so they were looking for distribution. So it's under new ownership now. It works with double doors too, as long as one side. So if both sides are always being used, then it's not going to be a good solution. If one side is mostly stationary and one side is used, then it's an extremely good solution to that problem. Does anybody else want to ask any questions or have any other questions for Ron or myself after installing these?
Is there a good shimming option if the door sits inside the frame?
A good shimming option?
Yeah.
What do you mean for shimming the door?
I mean, if the door sits inside the frame, right? Then
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to close the door properly. So then,
So if you've got a center hung door, or is that the type of thing you're thinking of?
right, so we use washers right now, but it's probably not the
Yeah.
most elegant way of doing it.
We've created a Z angle or Z angle for my fellow Canadians that you mount on the door. So what you can pair it up. Some people use an L angle with it, some don't. But it is two 90-degree angles that you mount on the door that sort of covers the gap from the door to the frame. We see it the most in California with center hung doors, where that Z angle will come out, sort of bridge that gap where the door sits recessed inside the frame. It comes out, comes across, and then you mount an L angle the reverse way so that it's facing inward, and that Z angle closes right into the L angle, so you can't come at it from the side, and it fills the gap at the same time.
I need one of those. I need to send me one of those, or I'll get one through distribution or whoever. But I've got a customer who recently got broke into, a jewelry store that's got one of those double hung doors, or
Yeah.
double swing doors.
I can get you one.
Okay, cool. All righty. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns? There's no stupid questions, guys. Ask them now. You got me, you got the time, you got the man, you got Ron, you got everybody right here ready to answer any questions you have. Feel free. A video of the center hung would be nice. Well, yeah, as soon as Ron sends me one, I'll make one probably in the next month or so.
I've never seen a center hung door locally. Every time I've got an order for one, it's in California.
Yeah, we got a bunch of them here, but Colorado's just Californians and Texans. So, all righty. With that, we'll probably wrap it up, guys.
Thank you, Wayne. Thanks, everyone.
Comments, concerns. Yes, thank you, Ron. Thank you for joining. Again, I'm going to put that QR code up there for just a second. Take advantage of that $250 offer. It's going to end here in just a few days. So enjoy, and then check us out for the next monthly Zoom meeting. This is what you get. You get lots of information and new ways to put more money in your bank account. Thank you for all the comments. We appreciate everything. Absolutely. You are very welcome. Everybody's very, very welcome. I'm glad everybody attended. The more attendance we can get on these webinars and these monthly meetings, the better. My goal is to see what I want to do with these meetings. Is I've noticed that the associations are having less and less live interaction just due to people's time. Everybody's time is so valuable. You don't have time to go do these things. I understand that. We can't change people's time frames and schedules. So now if we could all collectively come together for 1 or 2 monthly meetings online on Zoom like this, it's less impactful to you. It saves your time, and it adds value to your time that you do spend here with me. So thank you so much for joining and attending. I wish everybody a great week. Go out there and make some money. Have a great day.